For the longest time, Uber was regarded as one of the most ambitious and aggressive private startups in modern financial history. It completely revolutionized how human beings move around cities, disrupted the century-old taxi industry, and created an entirely new category known as the gig economy. Yet for years, Wall Street and everyday investors had one nagging question. Does this company actually make any money? Or is it just burning billions of dollars of investor cash to subsidize cheap rides? When Uber finally went public in May of 2019, it made history for all the wrong reasons, suffering the single largest first-day dollar loss in United States IPO history. If you had invested $10,000 into Uber stock on the day it went public, 4 years later, you would have had roughly the exact same $10,000, while the broader S&P 500 gained 50% over that same window.
For years, skeptics called it an unsustainable cash incinerator. But beneath the surface, Uber was quietly engineering one of the most remarkable corporate turnarounds in modern business. Today, Uber has transitioned from a loss-making startup into a cash-generating giant that operates very much like Amazon. So how does Uber actually make money today? What are the hidden levers driving its billions in revenue? How does its take rate work? And what can smart investors learn from its business model?
Welcome back to Teddy's Wealthcraft. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the mechanics of Uber's financial empire. Before we get started, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for more deep dive business and wealth breakdowns. Now, let's get right into it.
To understand how Uber generates revenue today, you first have to understand its foundational philosophy, the asset-light marketplace model. Traditional taxi and transportation companies have always had massive capital expenses. A traditional taxi firm has to purchase an entire fleet of vehicles, finance expensive commercial city medallions, pay for ongoing mechanical repairs, buy fuel, and maintain central dispatch garages. If fuel prices spike or a cab sits idle in traffic, the taxi company absorbs that financial pain directly. Uber turned this entire structure upside down. From day one, Uber decided it would not own the cars. Instead, Uber built a digital matchmaking engine. By launching a smartphone app that seamlessly connected riders who needed transportation with independent drivers who already owned their own vehicles, Uber eliminated almost all traditional overhead.
The drivers supply the vehicle, pay for their own gas, and cover their own maintenance. In exchange, Uber provides the technology, the GPS routing, the passenger demand, payment processing, and commercial insurance coverage during trips. This ultra-lean, asset-light structure allowed Uber to expand across hundreds of global cities in record time without ever having to buy a single fleet of automobiles. At the heart of this business model lies a powerful two-sided network effect. On one side of the platform, you have the end consumers, the riders hailing cars, and the eaters ordering dinner. On the other side, you have the supply, the drivers and delivery couriers looking to earn an income. Uber's entire economic engine relies on keeping both sides of this marketplace perfectly balanced. Think of it like Airbnb. Airbnb doesn't own hotels. Its entire value comes from maintaining a vast community of reliable hosts. In the exact same way, Uber must maintain a massive, active fleet of drivers.
When there are plenty of drivers on the road, wait times for passengers drop from 10 minutes down to 3 minutes. When wait times drop, more passengers open the app. And when more passengers open the app, drivers stay busy, earn more money per hour, and remain loyal to the platform. This creates a self-reinforcing flywheel. Furthermore, consumer data shows that riders are creatures of habit. Once an individual integrates Uber into their daily routine, whether for commuting, airport travel, or late-night rides, their retention rates remain remarkably high. In fact, customer cohort data reveals that users typically spend more money on the platform with each passing year.
However, building this global empire was anything but smooth. Uber's journey has been defined by fierce legal battles, regulatory standoffs, and massive corporate controversies. In its early aggressive growth phase under co-founder and former CEO Travis Kalanick, Uber adopted a notorious move fast and break things mindset.
the company routinely entered metropolitan markets without local regulatory approval, triggering massive protests from traditional taxi unions across Europe, Latin America, and North America. At one point, regulators in London revoked Uber's operating license over safety and compliance concerns, sparking a multi-year legal battle before the company successfully regained its long-term license in 2022. Simultaneously, a massive legal debate emerged across the United States. Should gig economy drivers be classified as independent contractors or formal W-2 employees with benefits? This debate challenged the very core of Uber's low overhead cost structure, forcing legal compromises and legislative battles across states like California. The breaking point arrived in 2017. Following severe allegations regarding corporate workplace culture, leadership conduct, and legal scrutiny, Travis Kalanick resigned as CEO.
Uber brought in Dara Khosrowshahi, the former chief executive of Expedia. Khosrowshahi initiated a complete cultural and operational transformation. He focused the company on regulatory transparency, corporate ethics, cost discipline, and driver relations. Instead of chasing growth at all costs, the new leadership set a clear mandate. Uber had to mature from a chaotic, venture-backed project into a profitable, disciplined enterprise.
So how does this massive machine actually generate dollars today?
Uber divides its core business into three primary operating segments: mobility, delivery, and freight. Let's look at the first pillar, mobility. Mobility is the core ride-sharing business that everyone knows. Whether you hail a standard UberX, an Uber Black, or share a ride with Uber Pool, this segment represents roughly 46% of the total dollar volume spent on the platform. Uber does not record the full fare paid by the rider as its own revenue. Instead, it measures what is called gross bookings, which is the total dollar amount spent by the passenger, excluding tips. Uber then takes a fee for facilitating the transaction. This percentage is known on Wall Street as the take rate.
In the mobility segment, Uber's take rate historically hovers around 28 to 29%. That means if a passenger in Dallas or Chicago pays $30 for a ride, approximately $21 goes straight to the driver's earnings, while Uber retains roughly $8 to $9. From that retained amount, Uber pays for payment processing, commercial insurance, software maintenance, and customer support, leaving the rest as high-margin operational revenue. The second major pillar is delivery, primarily through Uber Eats and Postmates, which Uber acquired in 2020. Delivery represents roughly 48% of overall gross bookings. When you order food from your favorite neighborhood Italian restaurant on Uber Eats, Uber creates a three-sided transaction involving the customer, the restaurant merchant, and the delivery courier. Uber generates revenue here from multiple angles. First, it charges the restaurant a commission fee on the food order, often between 15 and 30%. Second, it charges the customer a delivery fee and a marketplace service fee. And third, it uses algorithmic routing to bundle orders, allowing a single courier to pick up multiple meals on a single route, thereby maximizing efficiency.
The delivery take rate averages around 20%. While food delivery historically carried thinner margins than ride-sharing due to lower order sizes, Uber expanded delivery into high-margin verticals, including grocery delivery, alcohol retail, convenience store goods, and even Uber Health for medical prescriptions and non-emergency medical transportation.
The third and smallest segment is Uber Freight, which accounts for roughly 6% of total gross bookings. Uber Freight is a digital logistics marketplace that connects enterprise shippers who have cargo with commercial truck drivers and carrier fleets who have empty trailer space. By acquiring logistics company Transplace in 2021, Uber entered the commercial supply chain industry using automated matching technology to eliminate deadhead miles, the wasted fuel and time when long-haul truckers drive empty containers across the highway. Now, beyond these three core transportation pillars, Uber has developed two secret weapons that generate massive high-margin revenue: advertising and subscriptions. First, let's talk about advertising. Uber realized that it sits on top of one of the most valuable digital assets in the world, a captive audience with immense purchase intent. When a passenger is riding in the back of an Uber for 25 minutes, what do?
They look directly at their smartphone screen to check their route, arrival time. Similarly, when an eater is waiting 40 minutes for dinner to arrive, they open the Uber Eats app multiple times to track the courier.
Uber began monetizing this attention by allowing restaurants, consumer brands, and local retailers to buy sponsored listings and video ads directly inside the app. If a local burger restaurant wants to appear at the very top of your Uber Eats feed when you are hungry, they pay Uber for that sponsored placement. Taking a direct page from Amazon's playbook, advertising revenue carries near 90% profit margins. It produces over $1 billion in high-margin cash flow, converting everyday screen time into pure corporate profit.
The second secret weapon is the Uber One subscription membership. Much like Amazon Prime or Costco, Uber One charges consumers a monthly or annual fee in exchange for perks like 5% off rides, $0 delivery fees on food orders, priority service, and exclusive promotions. This creates a powerful recurring cash stream for Uber, but more importantly, it drives cross-platform loyalty. A consumer who subscribes to Uber One doesn't just use Uber for their morning airport ride. They are far more likely to order their Friday night dinner through Uber Eats rather than opening a competing app like DoorDash. Subscription members spend considerably more per month and stay on the platform longer, driving down Uber's customer acquisition costs while boosting its lifetime customer value.
Many people also don't realize that Uber is a massive global holding company with a strategic investment portfolio worth billions of dollars. During its early global land grab phase, Uber tried to compete directly in foreign markets against entrenched local players. However, fighting bloody price wars in China, Southeast Asia, and Russia proved extraordinarily expensive. Instead of burning endless billions, Uber executed a brilliant strategic retreat. In China, Uber sold its local operations to its fierce competitor, Didi, in exchange for a substantial equity stake in Didi. In Southeast Asia, Uber sold its regional business to Grab in exchange for an equity ownership stake in Grab. It structured a similar transaction with Yandex in Russia.
Furthermore, Uber spun out its internal self-driving technology unit into an autonomous vehicle company called Aurora Innovation, taking a major equity position in the process while partnering with companies like Alphabet's Waymo. Rather than running expensive local operations at a loss, Uber transformed its former international battlegrounds into a multi-billion-dollar portfolio of equity stakes in the world's leading mobility and technology companies.
When evaluating Uber's performance, Wall Street analysts focus on three primary growth drivers: audience, frequency, and price. Audience is measured by monthly active platform consumers, the total number of unique individuals who take a ride or receive an order in a given month. Uber's active audience has grown past 140 million users worldwide, generating billions of individual trips each quarter. Frequency measures how often each individual user opens the app and conducts a transaction each week. And price measures the average dollar value per ride or order. Management's formula is simple. Even if each of these three levers grows by just single digits, their combined compounding effect produces double-digit gross bookings expansion year after year.
For nearly a decade, the main criticism against Uber was its lack of real profitability. In the early days, Uber had to spend heavily on aggressive rider discounts, $5 promotions, and massive driver bonuses just to win market share. However, as the market consolidated, with Uber holding around 75% of the United States rideshare market alongside Lyft and commanding a powerful second position in food delivery behind DoorDash, the need for irrational promotional spending evaporated. Uber streamlined its corporate overhead, optimized internal operations, reduced administrative expenses, and disciplined its marketing spend.
When you look at the broader picture, Uber's business model evolution offers a masterclass in business strategy and economics. It started with a simple idea: push a button, get a ride. It scaled using an asset-light model where independent drivers provided the capital equipment. It navigated severe regulatory and cultural headwinds by reforming its leadership. And it expanded its revenue streams by layering food delivery, freight logistics, high-margin digital advertising, and recurring subscriptions directly on top of its existing user base.
Just like Amazon began by selling books before leveraging its logistics infrastructure to dominate e-commerce, cloud computing, and advertising, Uber used ride-sharing as a Trojan horse to build an unmatched global network for the real-time movement of people, food, and physical goods.
For investors and business observers, Uber is a prime case study in the power of network effects, operational discipline, and platform leverage. Thank you for watching today's breakdown on Teddy's Wealthcraft. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment with your thoughts on Uber's business model, and subscribe to the channel for more comprehensive wealth and business analysis. Stay disciplined, invest wisely, and we will see you in the next video.